What is up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. We're back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom. And we have got a killer guest with us today. This is going to be an awesome and fun conversation because we're talking with Tod Holland, who has an insane background. But we're going to talk about everything from bots and generating leads with bots and AI and some of the future of real estate lead generation that's coming. Some of the fun stuff that Tod's agency does for clients, as well as him coaching, top brokerages and teams on how to actually make that stuff convert and work well. This really is kind of where real estate is heading right now over the next, let's say, at least 5 years, if not beyond that. So we've got a bunch of fun stuff to get into with him. But first, my esteemed colleague, the Junior Grandmaster, is in the co-pilot seat where you so belong. Greg McDaniel, yes. What's up today?
What up, Matt? Yeah, dude, the pre-show conversation is fascinating. Todd's going to bring a ton of value to the show today. Lots and lots of good intel, and he's actually from my local NorCal, family up here. So, much love, homie. Yeah, NorCal rules, SoCal drools. And
I would just like to point out, brought to you by the people who invented the word hella.
Thank you. We're hella cool, man. Hella cool.
We're still sorry about that.
Thank you. Should apologize to the world for that.
So I want to show you guys this hella cool bottle of vodka. There's a little Absolute bottle of vodka that my neighbor actually brought over to me yesterday as a gesture of thanks. I didn't even know he was going to do this. I just had advised him on some real estate stuff for his family because his brothers and sisters were trying to take over part of one of the family properties. They were trying to undercut him and cut him out of the whole process and the deal and the money and everything else. And so I sat down with him for 5 minutes, one night, and then he just bought me a nice, Absolute bottle of vodka. So I told him that, in honor of him and everything that we could do, that the two of us, we're going to sit down, we're going to smoke some Cohiba cigars, make a cocktail, and sit out on the patio and just hang out as neighbors. So that's just kind of one of the cool things that, Todd has experienced this, Matt has experienced this, I get to experience this, that when you work with people and you help people, and just, something you don't think it's insignificant in your own mind, right? It's like, it's just my own knowledge, right? But it made all the difference for this guy. I mean, my neighbor Larry, coolest dude ever, is my next door neighbor. Matt, did you ever meet Larry? I don't think you ever met Larry.
I don't think so, huh?
I share one half of one wall with this dude. He's a super cool dude. If he ever leaves, I'll be pissed. But it's just having someone honor your time and your knowledge by just a small little gift like that is just awesome. So, with that, Todd, welcome, brother. I'm excited to get to know you. I think it's gonna be a hella cool show, and I'm gonna use hella the entire show. It's just irritating me
right now. God damn it.
Greg, man, I hella appreciate being on this show with you today.
Dude, it's hella my pleasure.
Air this is gonna be the worst one. You can't air this.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be so bad it's unusable. All right.
No, really, guys. Thanks for having me on. This is gonna be excellent. I'm excited.
Yes, we're really pumped. So let me. I want to in a second. I want you to describe kind of what the hell you do, because now you're retired. But I'm going to give people the highlights just real quick. So, founder of Lumenwood Marketing Group, which is an agency that helps real estate agents and loan officers generate and close leads. You have also owned a real estate group in San Francisco. You started the first Bitcoin title company, escrow company, Bitcoin escrow company.
Yeah,
in San Francisco.
Yeah.
You started the first cloud brokerage in San Francisco. You sold both of those off. So, and then now you're coaching, brokerages and agents and teams and stuff like that are generating leads and how to close those and kind of get to the next level profitably and sustainably, which, by the way, is an issue. I was just talking to an operations ninja who used to do the operations for one of the top teams and brokerage offices in San Diego. I was talking to her last week, and yeah, you'd be astounded by someone who's actually taken a look at the books of some of the top teams, like how little profit they actually bring home from this stuff. So Todd, that's part of what you're doing, is helping them close the leads in a way that's actually profitable, which is kind of actually what matters. So, but now that you've sold all this stuff off, like, what do you actually tell people you do? What do you tell people that who you are and what you do?
This is hard for me, man, and I'll tell you why. I got in real estate when I was 18 years old in San Francisco, and you can't see me too well in this picture, but I still look like I'm 12. Imagine when I was 18, I look like I was 6.5. Real estate's been like, y'all like the like Greek mythology and stuff like that. It's been like this weird, like Sisyphus kind of push the boulder up the hill and have it crush you on the way back down kind of thing, my whole life, because it's just that I got in when the market crashed. Right. And so any success that I managed to have looking younger than the children of the people who I'm supposed to be serving as clients in one of the most competitive markets in the country was, in spite of the fact that the world was going to hell at the time. And it was kind of crazy thing. I remember people asking, why are you doing this? Why are you getting into this? And I kind of had this idea of like, well, I mean, this same thing happened before. Like, it's going to end, right? Like, I'm just getting started. It's going to take me like 10 years to get good at this stuff, and it's going to end. And so, it didn't take me 10 years, and it didn't take 10 years for the market to come back, but we're seeing things get back anyhow. So that's when I was 18. I worked at Better Homes and Gardens. At 22, I started my own brokerage with the team leader I had at Better Homes and Gardens. We had this idea that we wanted to, like stop the meetings, stop the in-house, like the office meetings, stop all of that, and bring people, the value in a cost-effective way where, we were a flat fee brokerage at the time, because we thought that, there was kind of an agent tax, like, there's kind of like, you guys have heard that term before, the agent tax, like everyone out there trying to make extra money off agents, including brokers sometimes. I think, some of those splits are questionable. In any case, we started that before EXP got there, like a month or two before EXP got there. So we get to say we started the first cloud brokerage in San Francisco, and really EXP is now the real like thing. Yeah. We're a smaller team, but what to answer your question, the reason why I say it's so hard is after 10 years in the industry, I'm 28 now. I've had a team of 47 real estate agents, 9 loan officers at the end of it. And 2 weeks ago, sold my company to U.S. Capital Group.
Congrats.
We made the decision. Thank you. Yeah. So they bought us out. I'm sure it's for the Bitcoin thing. We had a Bitcoin escrow company where you actually didn't have to transfer your Bitcoin into dollars to get the deal done. So we actually facilitated all that, and it was like kind of a weird thing built into an escrow company. So it's free. We just did the escrow services in that way. I think they bought us for that, for the blockchain capacity for that to be like a nationwide thing. And, they're going to do some fun stuff, and I'm still on with them. It's not like they kind of kicked me off. They appreciate my feedback. I'm on the board still, of the child company now. So, but as far as my day-to-day guys, I mean, I see myself as someone who builds systems and trains people in systems, people specifically real estate agents and loan officers, on how to not just get more leads, because like I said, the lead generation thing, it's not exciting. Lead gen is kind of like anybody can get a bunch of people who don't own homes to say, yes, I want to own a home, if their upstairs neighbor is like pounding on the, floor, ceiling above you, and they're tap dancing, your kid's crying. Like, it's not a hard like sell in that case. Like, yeah, I think I would like to live in that instead of this. I mean, so to get that to happen is kind of incidental at this point. So what we do in our coaching, I'm just going to throw it out. What we do in the coaching side, when we do the coaching, is we get that out of the way. We build the funnel for them outright, so all the marketing stuff is in place and kind of ready to go, and everything comes, into how do you, the human side of it can never disappear. So what best, how best do we apply the human labor aspect of what we do to what we do? And then the second question is, what can we automate? What can we streamline? What can we make more efficient without sacrificing the consumer experience? And that's key, because I think that marketing, it's a personal opinion, I think marketing in the last 10 years has, stopped respecting the consumer as more than just like a price tag. I feel like it's a very kind of like a, sharks in the water type of approach, where, copy is thrown around and, incentivize certain things and overly suggestive. If the product is real, if it's like a real product, real value, you shouldn't have to do that. I've kind of been campaigning against this for the past couple of years. So I go into how to do that without, making the consumer feel like they're being sold to, which is, I think, very important in a lot of the different things, both by the agent and by the robot the agent builds, right?
Right. So how do you get around that? I mean, that's probably like the $10 million question. I mean, you don't have to give away the farm, but it'd be interesting to kind of see your thought pattern and methodology behind that, and how you got to where that was seamless and just effortless for you guys.
Yeah, and ultimately it comes down to deciding what is the best step or period of time or whatever for someone to kind of come in and be the human. Right. And, it goes back into the fact that we've built probably over 2,500, local buyer funnels, and kind of seen where the drop-offs are in different markets. And, the buying culture in, Tulsa is certainly different than the buying culture in Walnut Creek or San Diego or Canyon Lake. It's never the same, but the pain points often are. And because the pain points are the same, so too can be the line of questioning, because that's the next logical step as well. If the pain points, so how do you address that efficiently? So then, what we like doing is programming AI. We were just talking earlier before the actual recording of this, but the program AI that'll follow up with the leads for you, right? Text the lead on your behalf, and not just get that first text message out, but ask a series of questions and whatever the lead's response is, to have that trigger the next logical step and send that data to a data sheet or a CRM, so that the agent, when they go in there, can have, someone who feels like they had a conversation with a real person, all the necessary data, all the necessary notes, and can just dive right in. That, I think, is one of those places where, the best thing a lead gen system can do is facilitate that handoff in that way.
Mm-hmm.
If it can facilitate that handoff, everything else is up to the salesperson's acumen. Then you've got brokers teaching, the right series of words to get people into houses. I don't really talk about that because I've never been like a sales guy. I've always been like a manager, like a systems builder. But so there are of course word tracks, and Tom Ferry's great, things, and everyone local has a different approach of going about that. But I think that the most important part is to give people an opportunity to exercise that skill set that they've been learning as an agent. They say get the deal and then learn the contract. I feel like everyone's spent so much time looking for deals that they could be actually servicing those deals instead of chasing down ones that don't come to that.
Yeah, the only way to get practice closing the deal is to get enough leads in the pipeline that you get a chance to actually practice having the conversation. So that makes total sense. It actually dovetails really nicely because there was a question here talking about getting back to like the consumer's experience. There was a question here on the lead gen scripts and objections group from a guy named Andy. He says, what's everybody's opinion on Facebook drip campaigns? I get them constantly from agents posting listings and market reports and so on. I've never kind of subscribed to that approach. I've always just beat the phone. So I'm curious to see the cost and success and if anybody has any opinion or experience. But I don't think that our Facebook drip campaigns, in the sense that he's talking about, I don't know that that's actually a thing. I think he's talking about more of seeing the kind of marketing that most agents do, which is to cram real estate down people's throats because they just don't know what else to really talk about. And that's part of what you were getting to, that we're essentially just kind of like sharks in the water. And the only way we care about the person on the other end is that if they're about to do something in real estate, and then as soon as they do, then we're back to not caring about them again.
Right, and you bring up like a ton of, I think, amazing points. About just the human nature on the internet in general. But more specific to the question, those kinds of marketing strategies are, I think, taught by NAR. And again, you can cut anything I say out of this, hopefully down the road. No, this is a live video. I think NAR kind of prescribes the social media approach in kind of like an overly centralized way. Right. Mm-hmm. So NAR is saying to everybody, like, okay, you have to be on social media. You have to do certain things. You have to do all this. And then they're kind of pushing a strategy that is outdated, frankly. I mean, we saw the logo change, but it's kind of an outdated strategy. But then it's kind of pushed out to every single person.
That's right. Well, we know big things are happening. That 2D logo is 3D now, baby. That's things are
a whole other dimension to fuck up now. Sorry.
Oh, I love it. All right, so like it's yes. Well, the problem is when you have an organization that has to tell 100,000 or a million members what to do, it's going to be the absolute lowest common denominator, which means it's going to be wrong.
Yeah, it will, absolutely. And so agents, a lot of my agents that my brokerage, certainly I caught them doing this. We like to compare ourselves to doctors and lawyers and stuff like that. Fine, good. Let's leave that analogy there. My doctor doesn't, go like, hashtag just did another lobotomy, and my lawyer doesn't be like, we put him in jail. Like the DA doesn't do that. I mean, so like if the higher level of
hashtag DA life,
hashtag DA life. Can we get that overlaid down here? Just hashtag DA life.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
In post. But yeah, no. So that whole approach of let's post our listings, let's ask for business, let's talk about this, that, and the other thing. There's a way to organically market your business without coming off as like a real estate robot. And I like real estate robots in the sense that I build them to do real estate things. I don't like real estate agents who like lose their humanity and become real estate robots. That's not the thing I like. And it's like you get that thing, sometimes they call it, you get all sorts of, I think, overall issues, right, at the end of the day. And so, guys, sorry about the hand in the way here. The AirPods died midway through, so I think we're now on the phone speaker. Can everyone still hear me?
Yeah, you're still coming. I mean, I have the X as well, and as long as that thing is facing directly at you, you'll come. Your audio will come through just fine.
Oh man. Okay, cool. Then yeah. I mean, in that case, just to kind of tie it off, that kind of posting just about your listing, just about your business, stuff like that. Nobody cares that you're an agent. I mean, one of the great things that Ryan Stewart talks about in his coaching that I always ascribe to is that people only care about that you're an agent when they're ready to buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really care that you're an agent when they're just on social media. They care that you're a person who's funny, that has cool stuff and a cool life because you're an agent who's successful. Just simply the fact that you have a job is not like a precursor for someone to spend their time listening to what you have to say. I've learned this the hard way. So that being said, I think that that's one thing that I agree with. So the way the agents are marketing right now is it's probably outdated. They should be more personal. They should use, in fact, what they should do, if you guys don't mind me just giving a strategy that I use.
Please, give away. If you want to give 2, you can do that too. Or even 3. I mean, we won't stop you.
How much time y'all got?
Matt's got oodles.
Right, this is the rest of my day. I'm retired at 28, all right? Like, this is a problem for me.
Boredom is setting in quickly. You're like, now what to do with said life?
I did not have a plan B. Now I'm just like, okay, cool. Now I'm hanging out with these guys. I love it.
We're B-listers. We're hanging out with these guys.
I was a C-lister, and hopefully now I'm a B-lister. We'll get to A-list at some point. So the interesting part, I think, the most important thing to do when you're doing organic marketing to your sphere, which is the people who are on your friends list. So sphere marketing on Facebook are the people who are on your friends list. That's the analogy there. Because sphere marketing means something different with every channel, right? Like if you're doing like email blast, it's something different. If you're doing like mailers, so in this context, your sphere marketing is your sphere is that list of people that you're friends with. Get to 5,000 as quick as you can. Get to 5,000 on those groups, the talk groups, not the buy-sell groups. Those buy-sell groups are garbage. The talk groups are phenomenal because you actually have people who go there to talk and be themselves that you otherwise wouldn't know and meet. So you find those people, you add value, you find questions that you know the answer to. Answer those questions, become kind of well known as an agent without marketing yourself as an agent. Get people to start asking you questions. It's a long play, but marketing. I mean, all marketing is a long play at the end of the day, unless you're standing on a street corner with a big old sign. It's all marketing is kind of a very long play. And so you do that. You get your fill of people in, and then as you're working through, you're contacting them. You've got to set up to send Facebook messages to them at regular intervals, and your CRM will notify you like, hey, message to Dolores, go like. It's a Westworld thing, I guess. Message Dolores, like you talked to her last week, and get in the computer and type it out. Have the part of it, and then you're eventually going to close some deals off those contacts you make or the referrals. The next step is to take your Facebook list, your friends list, and create categories. You already have a bunch of categories created from the school you went to, from your family as a category, your job's a category. You're going to create some categories. I usually have 4 or 5. You do current clients, people who you're currently doing business with, referral partners, referral network, past clients, friends and family, and like the random / ISIS impersonators that we always get that we're like, this is the 10,000 beautiful woman whose friend requested me today in Temecula. I'm not even sure there's 10,000 women in Temecula, period. And this is the 10,000th one.
I know for a fact there's not. So the 5th category is the randos.
I'm too close. I can't. You got those friends lists, broken down in those certain ways. And then what you'll do is, there's data out there. I'm not going to go and, claim I know the data in your particular market, but there's data available on when people are on Facebook at certain times. So use it and post at that prime time in each one of those groups. Post one humorous thing for that group, and then one thing that's kind of more pertaining to them. An example of that would be if you have like a past client group. You post like a meme or something from Broke Agent about how like a transaction go kind of awry, and then people kind of laugh at that kind of thing. Then you post one more thing about a transaction that you yourself did that like went really, really well, kind of a thing, like a testimonial and things like that. And then all of your people who were hopefully past clients are all going to comment on that, and they're all going to kind of engage that thing. Then everyone else is going to see that post, and you make it public, of a bunch of your past clients having commented on this thing, like, wow, this guy knows his shit, like he knows his stuff. Let's message him. And that kind of a strategy works for each one of those groups, because at the end of the day, like my family doesn't want to see some of the stuff that I post to get my referral partners to talk to me, because some of that stuff is boring. And so
when you say creating lists or groups, are we talking about literally creating a group and adding them to that? Or are we talking about a Facebook list? A list. Perfect.
You're right. I misspoke.
And then when you go into Facebook to post it, you choose from the drop down, and you go, instead of saying public or only friends, it gives you those other list options. Yeah, you can publish a post, and the only people that's freaking, first of all, that's freaking brilliant. So basically what you're saying is that Well, because I never heard this before, dude. I've been, like we've been hosting podcasts in this space for 3 freaking years. I've never heard this before. So you're saying when you create a list, you can actually publish a post to just that list. Those are the only people that sees it. And because of that, Facebook obviously, curates it much, much higher up in their algorithm. So they're more, you can control the people that you would like to see certain posts of yours and have a higher percentage of getting it literally in front of them by telling Facebook, hey, don't show it to these other 4,000 people. I only want to show it to these 1,000 people that are my past clients and sphere.
Exactly. And then what you can do after that's done, after people engage with that, and because eventually you want your current clients and your potential clients to see what your past clients have to say about you. That's the goal of this whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So once you get a bunch of comments from your past clients, you make the post public. Or at least, accessible to those lists of people, maybe just not your family, but those lists of people that, you want to see that. And then all of a sudden, this is a post with a ton of engagement, a ton of what we'll call edge rank, or in this case, machine learning algorithm push toward the top, because of the level of comments on and discussion on the comment section. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that it's a pretty effective way that you can, you can do the organic side, you can do that component of what I think is very important, but you can do it in a more segmented way. And it goes back into, everything I think, if there's like an autobiography I want to write about myself as of the point of this conversation, is that segmentation is literally the key to everything. Categorization aspect of the human mind, when applied to software, is freaking brilliant. It's amazing what you can do with that, because you can get content to people based on how they respond to your stuff, based on how they know you. And that same way is how we should be following up with the leads, pushing back the lead gen conversation. The same way we follow up the leads should be the same way that we treat our own. Why should we treat the leads worse, or like they're less, or with like a less kind of sensitive approach, just because we don't know them yet? That's bizarre to me. So in that case, set something up where you've got like, in our case, we've got a script that we put out in a series of messages, and we have kind of what we call a relay in Twilio, where when someone responds to one of our questions, to take that response and push it through to our CRM, and then initiate the next question with like a positive, like, oh, perfect, oh, cool, like, where are you looking to move? That's awesome. What's your time frame? Fantastic. Do you have an agent? That kind of a thing. And each answer they have to that pushes to my CRM for the respective agent I'm working with. This is great for a loan officer who has, doing stuff with agents, and for the agent themselves who just want to get this stuff in, not like, chase down. Because I like Gary Keller. I like Millionaire Real Estate Agent. That's still a good book. I mean, you don't get shot at for saying that yet, right? You can still like that. Okay, so I mean,
I hope you still like it. Don't get shot at.
Yeah. No, that's what's interesting is that like the number of revisions that book has gone through. It's funny you bring that up, because it was going to be very ISA heavy, and then they started going, I don't know about that. And it's a good thing they didn't, because I'm telling you, like, if they would have released that book 2 years ago when ISA models were like the thing, right before Facebook chatbots came out, and now that's going to obliterate eventually. Like, it's not overnight, but it will obliterate the ISA model, or it will, at least, let's put it this way. It will shove the ISAs way further down in the process if they come in at all, right?
Well, right. It certainly removed the ISA model at my brokerage back when I still had brokerage, right? So that we had ISAs prior to, a lot of the robots we put together. I call them robots because that's a nerd, but the automations we put together.
Right.
And so when you had the automations there, I mean, it's it's good and bad, right? The good side is you no longer really need your staff to do what the staff does. You have maybe 8 people doing a job for 40 agents, now down to 2 people managing a system. So your costs go down. Your employees are happier because they're doing the one thing. So I mean, I could go on and on about the benefits of automating things from the perspective of the broker or a team leader and things like that too. But I think ultimately the idea is the automations mean nothing unless they're targeted. That's kind of how I felt about it. Unless they're segmented out. And the same way we talked about the list, unless you're really and in that way, we kind of treat our prospects with a ton of respect, don't we? If we ahead of time build a system more catered to their needs, be more conversational, that's a respectful act. It's not like a sneaky thing to do. I think
it goes back, like Derek Sivers said, good marketing is just being considerate, which I love that quote. And that's a great way to put that. So getting back to the bots, this is a big question that I think a lot of people are asking, and I'm sure you got your perspective on it, so I'm curious what you think. There's the school of people who believe that you can build bots that are so good they can mimic the agent so that the customer, the client, doesn't know when the handoff even occurred. And then there's people that build bots intentionally saying like, hey, I'm the bot for Matt Johnson. I'm going to help you get some resources that you need before, you show up to a call or before I have me, like Matt's going to reach out to you ASAP. But in the meantime, I'm here to help you get X, Y, and Z. So what's your opinion on the way that's going, and what are you guys doing right now?
My bot's name is Amanda, and she's my administrative assistant.
Okay.
That's easy.
I'm not sure if that answered your question or not, but it's never Todd's bot and it's never Todd. This is Amanda. I'm Todd's admin. I want to see if I can get you settled up with what you need. Do you mind if I ask you a couple of questions about your home server? Kind of a thing.
Okay.
That's perfect.
And then saying yes, okay, sure, no problem. I programmed all those different responses to be a continue. Anything but that is a no. Like
okay.
if they can't say yes to that, if they're like saying like, I don't know what's yes in Chinese or in Arabic or something like that. They say yes to a different language. I can't. Right. I don't speak those languages, so push them through. If it's a no, if it's not a yes, to me it's a no. That's always been kind of that's kind of I feel like how society should be. If it's not a yes, dude, it's a no. So in this case, if they're not like saying, and I programmed in like 30 different like affirmative words. Some I even had to go look up. Like I pulled a list off Wikipedia, like different ways to say yes.
All the different ways to say yes.
I had like 4 in my head, like yes for sure, hell yeah, or hella yeah, because we get that wrong.
Greg, we need to pull the opposite for you, Greg. So like when you're out at a bar, you need to have your list of all the different ways somebody can say no to you. So I'm gonna have my admin get on that right away, get that list over to you. It's that you don't have like quarterbacks have that thing on their wrist so they can see what all the different plays are. Nice. I got to get you one of those for your wrist. Go out
you dick. But it would be helpful. Well, we'll go back to that. Okay, we're gonna do a running play on that. Okay, yep, block and pass. You gotta go.
All right. So for anybody that's listening or watching, what Todd is saying is that basically you don't straight up say it's a robot, but you're not trying to come across like it's you. But for the most part, they think they're interacting with a human being who is a lower trained person who is getting like doing the pre, so almost like you go into a doctor's or a lawyer's office and you have an interview with a paralegal first before you get to the lawyer. Like they understand you're not the guy, but they also don't think they're necessarily interacting with a chatbot. So that's a brilliant way of like essentially you're threading the needle. That's right. The impression that I get, at least for now, until people get savvy enough so that they know, oh, this is a chatbot, and then at that point we'll be okay with it anyway.
I agree, and this is this method has been done. I did the way you kind of did the 2 ways that you proposed in the beginning. This and 2 other methods for a little while, see which one actually performed better, got the most responses, the least negative or let's say unsavory responses you get from online meetings.
Yeah.
And this is it. I mean, there are people like I've got a face made for podcasts, not Facebook Live videos. So I get it when people don't call me. But you can't tell Amanda to F off and die. Like you can't tell like poor Amanda, my admin assistant, right, doing her job, to go so people kind of tend to it buffers the blow a little bit, because then if anything happens, I don't have Amanda programmed to say this, but I have like a way to text through Amanda on my own, so I can like be Amanda if I need to be. But again, I don't want to do that. I want him to do that for me. But sometimes it's like the response is usually, that's great, I'll have them call you right now, and I'm sitting there like this is literally sitting here. I would just push the button and pick up, that. So it's a really great way to warm transfer. At the end of the day, awesome. I don't think there's anything better than the warm transfer, even if the thing that's being transferred from is like an automation or a series of code. That's still a warm transfer.
I think we'll be okay with that. I mean, we're already used to calling into an automated line. That's essentially what we're doing. Except, we're annoyed by those just because they're so bad. They're just poorly constructed, and they're evidence of the company's lack of interest in actually helping us. So as long as you're doing it right, I think people will be okay with it. But like you mentioned, kind of getting back to the reason that this benefits the consumer at the end of the day, which is really what drives all of this, because that's the only way they're going to care. Like they don't care about saving us time; they care about saving themselves time. So the only way that all this stuff works is that if we build it with consideration in mind, and like you're talking about, there's a series of questions that kind of need to be asked. And what's good thing I think about this whole kind of chatbot revolution is that if there's guys like you that are building it, you're a better salesperson and a better marketer than the agent who typically would have taken that call to begin with. So Like if you're an agent yourself, or even if you're a broker or a team leader and you've got agents underneath you, you wish that they would ask those questions. Well, now it's built in. So before they even get to the agent, they're being asked and, you know, pitch the questions that they should be, that are actually considerate to where they're at in the process of buying or selling. Which, so I love that. Like we get the chance to kind of like do the preliminary stuff the right way, I guess.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. And you know what? You kind of hit the nail on the head too. It's an interesting thing, because that level of you know, kind of time saving on their end, people don't want to talk to us necessarily.
No.
I mean, not for that.
Not unless they have to.
Not unless they have to, right? Not unless we have good news for them. And I want your information is rarely, if ever, good news. Again, unless situations are attractive person. Yes.
Yeah, there has to be a big carrot on the end of the stick, like a big one.
Absolutely. And so in this case, it really is just a way. And it's cool too, because you mentioned that for the team leaders and the broker. I never thought about this. I might throw it into my marketing material now. But it's almost as if they get an interview from the broker before they even talk to the agent automatically, because the broker line of question. I need to explore that further, because that's actually an interesting pain point that I think that could solve.
Well, yeah, I mean, just knowing guys like Jeff Cohn, who have now 50 agents, and you know, a couple years ago it was half of that, right? So they're doing nothing but just recruiting agents, and yeah, they have like this incredible laid out plan. Like they have to literally meet with every single agent one-on-one, open the back end of their CRM. Okay, how are you handling this? Did you call them? Did you call them? Did you text them? Did you call, text, and email? Did you? And so they're trying to do all this just to get the agent to ask those questions and not be inconsiderate, essentially, either not pick up the phone at all, not get back to them, and then once they do get back to them, take the easy way out and not ask them those questions that are really about them, because the agent's thinking too much about what they want, right? So, I mean, the average agent who isn't making, you know, mid six figures to $1 million a year, like they need the money. And so their thinking is already, you know, not quite where it should be. And so, yeah, you as the broker or team leader, like you wish you had a way to get them to ask the questions and handle the lead right off the bat in the right way. And this is it. Like you just cut the agent out, you push them further down the process so that the consumer shows up to a call with somebody having already essentially filled out their chart, like their medical chart, but for real estate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I love that.
Yeah, it's a good bridge. Like you don't want to go all technology, you don't want to forego technology, but it's a nice bridge, I think, from the one end to the other.
Yeah. Awesome, man. So that's really, really cool. So tell me a little bit about like on the coaching side, just in terms of the human side of the business, right? So let's say you build in, you work with somebody like you to build in the chat bots and the AI and stuff like that. So it pushes the agent a little bit further down in the process. What does that change about what brokers, team leaders, and agents actually need to do? Like where does your coaching come in to where you have to like change behavior and get them to do certain things differently to actually make all this pay off?
Yeah, you know, and so that's I think a great question. It's really, to your point, geared for the team and geared for the brokerage, because they're the ones who, you know, have the most use for any lead generation whatsoever. I mean, I think individual agent lead generation is, you know, oftentimes a mistake unless you've got deep pockets, right? And if you've got very deep pockets and, you know, a lot of time and a good pipeline on your own, then of course it can be a fantastic idea. There's nothing wrong with it, but that doesn't describe most agents or most people.
Definitely not the ones that are asking in Facebook groups on whether they should dump $150 a month into Facebook ads, or the people that were buying Zillow ads 4 years ago or whatever. Like those, yeah. So I 100% agree with that recommendation. Most of those agents should not be doing individual online lead gen for themselves.
Right. Focus on the organic side of things. I have, you know, I mean, there's tons of information out there. I have a free course on it. I mean, you can find so much information on the internet to help you just utilize Facebook better for your organic prospect. It doesn't have to be for ads. I mean, Facebook is, I mean, look, it's the best CRM. Okay, it's the best CRM. It's the best drip system that you can possibly imagine. It's the best kind of nurturing system, referral garnering system, like to get more referrals, get more reviews for yourself. Nothing else competes with Facebook, because nobody else opens any other app on their phone as much as they open that damn Facebook app. That's the reality. So when you look at it in that perspective, there's so much you can do on Facebook without actually running a single ad or spending a single dollar. And I think that for an individual agent, your time is best spent, even if you're on a team and you're working like maybe 20 leads you get in a week and the rest of that's going on your own, your time is best spent until you're a team leader in learning how to do these things on social media, because you eventually have to teach that thing that actually does work to the agents who come in, so you have a competitive advantage, right? So you have to know how to do it.
So true.
Get the organic side down. I mean, I have a book I wrote on it, free. I'll get these guys the link later, because I for the life of me can't remember where the hell I stored that.
Well, what's the name of your book?
Social Media Sales Mastery, which I realized after I wrote it that you actually have to copyright some of that shit. So I'm dealing with some stuff right there. That's the 25th book titled that, and the original writer is. So.
It's like the book title is trademarked as a book.
Yeah, I think so, or something, because there's like 45, and you go to Amazon, 45 books are called this. We all thought we were original. Anyway, all it goes into is, it's for real estate. It just goes into, what are the core principles of like how a post gets. I mean, do you know that? Do you know how to make your people see your posts? Do you know how to like set up a group of people? Ryan Stewman calls a syndicate. I'll use that term here, like a syndicate of people who, help you boost your post after you post it by commenting, sharing, liking, like you have that in place. And so it goes through all that, goes to the best times to post things, like overall nationwide averages, best things to post at those times based on our data, from about a year ago. So that's changed too. I've got to update it. But yeah, I mean, it's a good resource just to learn how to do it. Because when you learn how to do it, then everything else, like if you can close a lead that you've garnered yourself off of like a Facebook group, for sure when someone hands you a lead on like from a funnel, you're gonna be able to do just fine with that. Because it's way harder to like pull somebody like a human being to a human being than it is to pull a person to an offer. Right? That's always been that way. I mean, it's way hard. Like we talked about, it's so easy to get someone to say, I want the house. Yeah, click on it. But to actually say like, well, I want to go through with this process with you, that's a whole other animal, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Sunglasses, Hat, and Pool can't get every single client in the world, but other people can. So it's really a matter of finding that right person, that affinity, and so that's a big part of that there. For the team, for the broker, on the other hand, there's a lot that can be done as far as So one of the ways that we start our coaching is that we think that remove the marketer from the brokerage. Like stop worrying about doing the marketing. We actually handle for a lot of the coaching clients we get. We handle their marketing for them. So we'll build them their buyer ads in their various trade areas. We'll build them their VA ads so they can get more veteran stuff like that. We'll take care of all that stuff in the coaching as part of it outright. We build that so they have it. And then the rest of the coaching experience is not about, well, how do I put a landing page? Not that there's anything wrong with those coaching things. There's like really great value in learning how to build a funnel for yourself. But if you don't want to do that, and you just want this thing to work, the rest of the coaching is about how do you use those funnels and that lead generation and the automations that are kind of pre-built and that I teach you how to do for yourself that are really easy on Zapier. How do you use those to kind of build your business out, scale it kind of manageably, because it's not about scaling like quickly. It's not about scaling like some we're all over the place, we're mile wide, inch deep. That's oftentimes not the best thing for a real estate brokerage. I made that mistake by expanding to Southern California 5 years before we actually had a presence in here. So I've been here for 5 years, and we just now finally got a presence out in Southern California, so we didn't prioritize it, and then we sell the damn company. So I'm still bitter. I'm happy, but it's like, God, I mean, like, come on.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, long answer to a short question, so I apologize for that. But yeah, I mean that's really it. It's all after the lead, after the funnel, after the follow up is there. Like, what do you do as a broker, as someone who's trying to build your business, to get people to sign up for this, to give up 25% of their commission, 30%, whatever your split, has to be, to work with you if there are like a million companies just like you. And it all comes back to, like you said, the carrot on the stick. What is the carrot? It's the golden carrot. Let me just take this thing over here real quick so that's not loud anymore. Jesus Christ, that thing gave me a heart attack. What about you guys?
It definitely
gives
gives a
we
jump.
started up a leaf blower next to you.
Yeah.
So Greg, what do you think? You've been quiet for the last little bit, and what's your perspective on what the average kind of agent can and should take away from the conversation? Because obviously, like, let's say they're not a broker, they're not a team leader yet. Maybe they want to be, but they're not there yet. What do you think they should take away?
I think the content that we're talking about here today is the being the real part of it. Instead of pushing ads to people, just have a genuine conversation with them. I mean, what Todd's doing is something I'm doing with Nick Sakis. We're creating content that's local, hyper local for the marketplaces. That's content they can actually use. having a conversation that's relevant, instead of just thinking that we're just going to be an ad guru, which we're not going to be an ad guru. I don't care who you are. I mean, Todd is equivalent to an ad guru, and he's stepping away from it going, I'm not an ad guru. So of all of us who are doing this on a daily basis, who's just sell homes, I would highly look at maybe one of his companies to take a look at, see if we can do some lead generation, some coaching with him. Maybe basically stop listening to the 65-year-old, no disrespect to the older listeners, but no, stop listening to the 65-year-old mindset of like, you just got to just sell, 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 sell. No, it's like, let's bring value. Let's bring content. Let's be relevant. Let's be a human being. And I'm just kind of going over in my mind, like, where are some different opportunities where people can start doing this. And Todd, like you were talking about, I'm on your team with this when it comes to Facebook. I think Facebook is a massive opportunity for us. If you're willing to put all of your content out there, because a lot of that stuff, I mean, once you put it out into the ether, it's in the ether. Right. But in today's day and age, I mean, it doesn't matter unless you live in Montana in a wood cabin with no running water. I mean, you're gonna be on the grid somewhere. So right. What do you want that story to be told when you're out on the grid? I just think that's what I'm kind of taking away from it a little bit. It's just being more of a human based, not so much of just a drone. But what the cool thing is that you've created an opportunity where there can be drones, but the human's not the drone. The drone's the drone.
Exactly. So you leave all the robotic elements of your job, so you don't act like a robot, to the robots. And you leave the human elements of your job, the networking, the relationship, the stuff that your robot can't do yet. I'll let you know in version 2.0. But as of right now, I can't build relationships for you guys. So,
damn it, Tinder would be so much easier. I mean, come on.
I'll before the release on the beta. But yeah, I mean, just handle that part right there. Work on your referral partners. Work on your overall database of people who can send you more business, builders, things that your robots can't do, because you're with enough funding, and if you're on the right team, and brokers, if you're the ones funding it, or whatever the case is, there's plenty of opportunity. For a massive pipeline. I think this year so far, we've generated over 12,000 leads for ourselves and our partners. And so that's at around an average cost around $3 a lead. So, I mean, that if you think about it, you scale that back down to whatever your budget actually is, let's say $1,000 a month, that's 333 leads a month. That's
a lot of leads.
That's less 75 plus leads every week, 80 leads a week.
Ooh.
That's more than 10 leads a day. I mean, that by itself is I think, more work than just the individual agent can handle. But a team, or if you're trying to recruit for a team, it's perfect for something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I think right now, since the ISA model is still very much alive and kicking, and Veronica Jones, who is a dear friend of mine and of the show's, she's on here, and she said, Todd, she really wants to like you, but she's having a hard time with you because you're saying the ISAs are going to die. She's like, I want to like him, but I don't know if I can.
You wouldn't be the first person, and for far better reason. No, yeah, it's one of those things where the ISA, in my opinion, is probably going to have a future integrated with the robots supplementing the things that they do, so they can handle 10 times, 20 times the volume normally could. I see robots helping the ISAs while the ISA model is still around. I think you can really differentiate by having the automations in place as an ISA, and being like a contract ISA with a model no one else uses. I mean, but otherwise, you're right. Yeah, I'm a total jerk. I agree with that. I've gotten that before.
That's awesome. All right, well, let's start putting a bow on it. But tell people how they can, especially for the Lumenwood Group, if they're really serious about getting involved with you, both from the implementation and from the coaching side, how do they get in touch?
Yeah, I think the best way to go about it is. I've got a couple, Lumenwood is the parent company, but I've got quite a few, different niches for agents. Go to the Close More Deals Facebook page, or closemoredeals.com. If you're a loan officer, I've got an offer. I went ahead and did this, an offer for anyone who's on this. If you're an agent too, not just loan officer, but if you're on this podcast, there's a closemoredeals.com/MLO funnels, MLO-funnels. Like if you're looking for the intro, like basic at about half the price. Anyway, so I did that for the first time in my entire life. I put together like an offer for one of these things. My whole team was like hating me because we were waiting for like 9 p.m. Anyway, so you can get to me on those. You can shoot me an email, Todd@lumenwoodgroup.com, LUMENWOOD group.com. Todd with 1D. Try to keep it as efficient as I can, right? Or, oh, look, their air conditioner decided to shut off. So, yeah, I mean, those two ways you can get in touch with me. Facebook is a great way to meet me and follow me, see my posts, see the stuff that we do. And if it kind of aligns with the goals of what your team is looking to approach, I mean, I guarantee that, I'm not going to go ahead and say price on the air, but we are disgustingly underpriced for for what we're offering to do in terms of, like, we're cheaper than most software.
Wow.
And it's a real service. So that being said, check it out. Check us out. And yeah, I've got a YouTube channel too, so you can find me on YouTube also.
Very cool. That's awesome, man. You got a lot going on.
You got a lot of free time now, so you can really build that YouTube channel up.
Exactly. All this stuff happened the last 14 days, guys. That's why all these.
That's insanity, man. Congratulations.
That's
fantastic, though.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. So, Greg, how do people reach to do such a thing?
I'm a lovable teddy bear, Matt. People always want to talk with me. I was like, I've been business partners with you for 3.5 years. Lovable and teddy bear do not come to mind. But what I
can see how other people find you lovable. That's
other people.
That's such a great backhanded compliment.
Yeah. I can see how other people do. Yes.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Not
I mean,
me.
I'm not,
Not
my what is it? Adam Carolla says all the time. People come up to him and say, like, my husband or my spouse is such a big fan of, like, me. I wasn't social, like, I was never a big fan, but my husband, big fan. Like, it's such a great, like, it's like, gee, thanks. I appreciate you running up to me after the show and telling me that someone else is a big fan, but you're not. Thank you.
Yeah, and that you think I suck. Awesome, beautiful. I'm gonna leave. You guys, go to bookmcdaniel.com. If you're listening, if you're watching me right now, it is on the screen right there. Go to bookmcdaniel.com. Come on over. Let's talk about the value add that Matt and I are going to be able to give to you guys for the EXP. If you guys are thinking about joining EXP, get on our team. Come hang with us. Let's have some fun. Tod was the OG of digital brokerages up in the Bay. So bow down to the gangster and that's with us now. But if you guys want to now come with EXP and continue your journey on this whole digital brokerage craziness that everyone's kind of all about right now, you can go to bookmcdaniel.com. I want to spend 30 minutes with you. I really do want to talk to you about this. Just don't call me on the 4th. Don't book anything on the 4th of July, please. I will not be in a speaking ability on the 4th.
You won't be upright, Greg.
Barbecues. There's going to be swimming in Tahoe. There's going to be parties. Yeah. No talking business on the 4th. But any other day, I'm good to go. So that's what it is here. Matt, how do they get a hold of Book the Big Johnson so they can get some time with you?
Well, if you have questions, if you guys like Tod on the show, and we've had other coaches and experts, and there's a lot of people that have, like, different approaches and stuff. So if you need some guidance on that, grab a 15-minute call with me at bookjohnson.com. I'm happy to help kind of steer you in the right direction or point you to a resource or the right person that you need to connect up with that'll help you get to the next stage in your business. Obviously, if you want to talk about podcasting, I'm happy to jump on a brainstorm call about that to see if that's a good fit for you. But yeah, that is the link, bookjohnson.com. It is not Book a Big Johnson. I have no legal liability over what you might find by what else. You don't do that. Do not take Greg's advice. And as far as the show, make sure to subscribe. You can grab that on iTunes and Apple Podcasts and Stitcher and YouTube if you want the video version. And then you can always go to reulive.com, which is a direct link to Greg's Facebook profile where we broadcast the show live 3 days a week. And we have awesome people like Tod on the show. So if you're listening to this after the fact and you don't know, part of the reason the show has the energy and the feel that it has is that we are legitimately live 3 days a week. This is not recorded behind the scenes. So you can come and hang out with us and you can comment. You can ask questions that we can bring to the guests while we're on the air. We keep an eye on the Facebook comments throughout the entire show. So I just want to thank you for listening, and also thank everybody that shows up and asks questions and interacts, because it's almost as much fun ignoring Greg and looking at the Facebook comments that are flying back and forth during the broadcast.
You're such a dick.
Almost.
Take out your friendship card and tear it up, Johnson.
Well, in honor of your shirt there, Greg, should we put a nice like a robin's egg blue bow upon this episode?
I think we should. We should. Tod, any final words you want to put out to anyone, my friend?
Nope, you guys covered it. Just be the change you want to be in the world. God damn it, that's the only thing.
There we go. Podcast right there. We can cut everything else out.
If you're tired of those automated dialers, like, just don't be one. You know what I'm saying? That's it. And thank you guys so much for having me on. This is just an awesome experience, and I got a lot of it too. So this is great. Hope I get to see you guys again soon.
Good, man.
Absolutely.
Good.
Yeah, we'll have you back.
as we all know, as you guys well know, Matt and I have a love affair with all of you folks that are listening to our show, both live and on the recorded versions, because we love to see you guys thrive, not just survive. We want to bring guests like Todd and some of the other folks that we've had on back to you guys on a consistent basis so that you can pick their brains, take all those nuggets of goodness, take that learning curve, shorten it down to an extremely short amount of time so that you can be like Todd and retire at 28. I mean, come on, drop mic. We out.
Pathetic. This is the saddest thing I've ever heard in my life. I need to get unretired tomorrow. Who's hiring? Who is hiring?
Dude, that's what I was like. Gary Vee always talks about the fact, like, like he loves the hustle and he wants to own the Jets, and his net worth is like 160 million and climbing right now. But he's like, dude, I'm gonna hate the day that I retire because I love the run, I love the hustle, I love the journey, and I always think about that. I'm like, I don't know if I ever want to retire. I always want to be on that hustle. When I hit my goals that I've talked about very publicly, it's gonna be like, fuck, now what? It's like I gotta build a bigger tower now. But that's okay. I mean, there's always new hurdles that you can tackle out there, and that's the cool thing. You have some time right now, Todd. You can go learn what those hurdles are going to be for you. And you guys in the real estate realm, you guys can go learn what your hurdles are going to be that you can keep on fighting and keep on doing that journey. And we're going to keep bringing you guys content. So, I love you guys. Share this out like a virus. Make sure that everybody gets it, and so that they can keep listening to all of our wonderful voices as we just drone on about nothing. No, we love you guys. Until next time, guys. Peace out, ninjas. We go.